Hello, I'm Yondan Latu. Today on Inside Story, pushing the limit, the toughest endurance race in the world right here in Hong Kong. Welcome to Inside Story. Next week, Oxfam Hong Kong will hold the biggest sporting event in its calendar, the Trail Walker, an annual endurance race along the Macleo's Trail. It started 24 years ago as a charity fundraiser, but has evolved into one of the largest sporting events in Asia. Last year, the Gurkhas set a new record for a second straight year. Will they do it again? If last year's Trail Walker is any guide, the Gurkhas may have to face the biggest threat to their title this year, the local team, the Cosmo Boys. Here's our report.
It's one of the biggest and longest endurance races in the world.
I would say it's one of the toughest.
The Oxfam Trail Walker is a 2-day, 100-kilometer race along some of the toughest terrains in Hong Kong.
You're on the mountains, you have the vistas, you're winding through the trees.
The top teams this year, the Super Trail Walkers, have one goal in mind: to break the current record in a race that will push human endurance to the limit and go down in Trail Walkers history as the most spectacular finish ever.
I came back so I could hear Waylon say, "You broke the record!"
Congratulations in advance. Congratulations in advance.
They are holding a record of 12 hours, 16 minutes. That's the record of the race.
We are going to break the record.
We are the Australian team.
We have won the Melbourne Trail Walker and beaten the Gurkhas, passing them at 75 kilometres. So who knows what can happen.
Bring it on. When we won in 2002, we won by over an hour.
We want to finish it within 13 hours.
Oxfam Trail Walker was started in 1981 as a military event by the Army. And then in the year 1986, the event was open to civilian people.
Super Traveler Team number 3, number 5, number 6, number 9.
I hope it's a good race, you know? I don't want to run by ourselves the whole time.
我叫 KK， 咁咧我係澳遊人嘅隊長啦。如果今年我哋啲兄弟唔散嘅話，我條 team 嘅兄弟唔散咧，我舊年啦，我夠膽出去冚佢哋咯。
त्यस्तो अब हुन्थ्यो टिमको कुनै एउटा इन्जरी भयो भने भन्न सक्दिनँ यदि कसलाई केही भने हामी जित्छौँ
I didn't expect as many, 1,000 people to run 100 kilometers. It's pretty impressive.
Last year's Trail Walker brought together 10,000 people. 6,000 were volunteers and support teams. The remaining 4,000 were walkers. Today, the Oxfam Trail Walker is no longer just a fundraiser. It's become an international sporting event for top endurance racers in the world.
यसपालि हाम्रो चाहिँ एकजना ऊ भाइ अलि कमजोर छ एकजना त ऊ कमजोर छ तर हामी अरूले उसलाई भेटायौं भने पक्का हामी पहिले आउँछ
Purasani Yam Bahadur is the leader of this 4-man team of infantry soldiers from the Royal Nepalese Army, all veteran runners of numerous past competitions.
Do you have some special Nepalese diet for the training?
बाटोमा अब त्यस दिनमा कुन्जी अलिकति अब जेली रिबोजिन त्यो खाँदै हामी चाहिँ जान्छौँ त्यो भन्दा अरू हाम्रो कुनै पनि छैन
Since 1981, when it began, the Gurkhas had dominated the event, a training course designed for Nepalese soldiers. After a long absence since 1997, they returned to Hong Kong last year and set a new record, 100 kilometers in 12 hours and 16 minutes. The record they broke belonged to Montreal. The American team had won Trail Walker for 2 straight years from 2001. Now in second place, they're out to beat the Gurkha record.
The records happen. Yeah. Because if you have fun and enjoy it, you always do better, I think, than trying to be nervous and waste energy.
Brendan Zabrowski, 34, from Seattle, Washington, has been running for more than a decade, a passion he shares with his wife, the head of Montreal's support team.
Is it very romantic to join the race together?
We like to think so. She is an excellent runner, and it was pretty neat to be able to find someone like her, because she can run so fast, and we both love running, so we spend a lot of time running together.
For this archaeologist, there are only 2 teams to watch out for: the Gurkhas and the one behind them. The 3-time champion, the Cosmo Boys.
It'd be fun if the Cosmo Boys were up racing up front with the Gurkhas and us.
The team is led by Chen Kwok Kung, or simply KK to teammates.
我哋澳遊人咧，曾經咧就贏過，即係獎項呢，一下子叫我講都好多啊。不過是舉例講幾樣啊嘛。咁毅行者咧98、99、2000年咧連續3年嘅冠軍啦。咁自此之後咧就01、02、03咧都係第2名㗎。
As the leader, he sets the pace, the engine that drives the team.
負責呢隊咧，我話咗我今年我一定要穿13個鐘頭。好多人都話我黐線又我魔鬼變態㗎啦。我咧好主導佢哋操得好辛苦同埋好長㗎。其實我哋嘅每次嘅訓練咧，我由朝頭早8、9點開始，早上就練到佢哋6、7點啊，即係黃昏。根本有時天黑㗎，要趕落山都即係咁長嘅時間，你諗下，連食嘢都唔係坐喺度食嗰啲嚟㗎喎。
A fireman, KK had seen action in some of the most punishing endurance races, including in the Sahara Desert and Mongolia. He took up the sport in his late 30s and is still running, long after his friends bailed out one after the other as they grew older.
個過程咧，我可以同你講，其實咧你話唔辛苦係假嘅。其實如果你叫答咧，其實就真係好辛苦，好辛苦嘅。其實我嘅血同汗真係流唔少我自己，但係一到辛苦嘅時咧，好多佢啲朋友啊或者同事啊，佢都會即係會放棄咯。咁你睇到呢度，你會令到你某程度上嘅情緒會好低嘅有時。
The Australian team, Asia Miles, was in 4th place, some distance behind.
Our plan is to just take it easy at the start because we know it can go too fast, you can really blow at the end. We can see the Gurkhas about a couple of Ks in front, so it'll be tough trying to catch them.
A new member, Peter Mitchell, was a last-minute substitute. He replaced a team member who died in an endurance race in the US a month before the Trail Walker.
So that has had quite an effect on the team's preparation. Just emotionally and our fitness preparation was quite affected. So, but we will still do our best. We want to run today in memory of our teammate and good friend Nigel.
The next stages of the race would be the hardest and the terrain the most punishing. We'll come back after the break to bring you the outcome of a race that would set a new record for speed and endurance.
Our team just crossed checkpoint number 1, and they are heading to this location, checkpoint number 2.
Checkpoint 2 is 25 kilometers from the starting line. And the Gurkhas are early.
They are slightly faster than our target. Around, I think 15 minutes. Around 15 minutes. They are early. First one is the S13 secure car. They passed the checkpoint 2 at 19 minutes past 11. It's good. But they should slow down a bit because the difficult part of the terrain is still coming. It is on the halfway. Going is difficult. It's uphill, 2 uphill, a bit downhill, and it is going is not very good. Going is difficult.
Ma On Shan is one of the 2 hardest sections of the MacLehose Trail. A long, hard slog along rough terrain to the summit.
नेपालमा चाहिँ हावापानीहरू अलि गरम छ हल्का छ तर यहाँ चाहिँ हङकङमा हावापानी अलि गरम छ र हामीलाई ट्रेनिङ गर्नुपर्ने नेपालमा अलिकति सजिलो हुन्थ्यो भने यहाँ चाहिँ अलि गाह्रो भएको छ नेपालमा अब गाउँ बेसी गर्नुपर्छ हाम्रो अब गाडीहरू यस्तो पर्याप्त सुविधाहरू छैन त्यसले गर्दा दिनमा कम्तीमा पनि 15, 20, 25 किलो त जहिले पनि हामी हिँड्नुपर्छ
Montreal was only a few minutes behind. By noon, the temperature had risen to 25 degrees.
First I'd say the heat, but we've all raised in the summertime, so we've all seen the heat. Yeah, we've all seen the heat and humidity. It's really not that.
After 1 hour, Montreal reached the end of Section 3 in Sai-Kung. And Hal Connor was feeling the heat.
Okay, let's go.
The worst was far from over. The next phase was more of the same, hot and hilly. By the time Montreal started its ascent, the Gurkhas had already reached the summit.
नेपालबाट आएको हामी जम्मा 3 महिना भयो अहिले हामी नेपालबाट आएको नेपालमा चाहिँ अलि चिसो छ उहाँको हावापानी अलि हल्का छ हामीलाई वहाँ चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्छ र उहाँबाट यहाँ आउँदाखेरि एक्कासी गर्मी हुन्छ यहाँको हावापानीहरू अलिकति गरम छ र हामीलाई यहाँ अलि अप्ठ्यारो चाहिँ अलि गाह्रै हुन्छ हामी
Sometimes running away with this great, but on the other hand, we like competition too, you know, and there's plenty of it out there this time, so it'll be good. It'll be a good race.
What are your targets?
Wear out all our pacers. Yeah, drop all the pacers. Yeah. Anybody who paces us will drop.
Ice water the other side.
Yes, ice water.
Yeah.
The hardest parts of the MacLehose Trail were finally over. But for Hal Connor, the ordeal had just begun. 20% of trail walkers usually give up at this stage.
It's a long time to be running on concrete when you don't train necessarily on it to get the body used to that kind of impact for that amount of time.
Yeah, 2 years ago it wasn't as bad as I thought, as far as the overall concrete pounding my body to a pulp.
Montreal is they are just 4 minutes behind in checkpoint number 2, but in checkpoint number 3 they are 13 minutes behind of our team. So our team doing very, very well.
By the time the Super Trail walkers reached checkpoint 4, they shall have walked 50 kilometers and passed 2 of the most difficult phases of the MacLehose Trail, sections 3 and 4. Still ahead of the race, the Gurkhas stopped for a quick lunch.
हाम्रो जहिले पनि खाना चाहिँ एउटै हो हामी स्पेशल दिन जुन गेम हुने दिनमा पनि दाल भात तरकारी खाएर जाने बाटोमा त्यसमा अफुन्जी अलिकति अब जेली रिबोजिन त्यो खाँदै हामी चाहिँ जान्छौँ त्योभन्दा अरू हाम्रो कुनै पनि छैन
Meanwhile, the Cosmo boys remained in third place behind Montreal.
如果你睇翻嗰4個實力嘅來頭，真係好犀利㗎啦！佢哋喺美國嗰邊咧跑160公里啊，全部係前排嗰幾個嚟嘅。即係你知美國幾億人，佢哋有嗰幾個精英過嚟。
A local team of firemen had overtaken the Australians, now down to 5th place.
Okay, going strong.
After the Gurkhas crossed Section 5, the race had taken a decisive turn. A new team emerged from the woods to take second place.
We really want to set the record. That's, our personal record.
Cosmo boys will be tough. They always are. They're always in it. They have a good race. They'll be right there.
The race was now down to two teams, the Gurkhas and the Cosmo Boys. The last 45 kilometers would be crucial. From here in Kamshan Country Park, the runners must go through Hong Kong's highest peak in Tai Mo Shan, then to Tai Po, Yuen Long, and finally to Tuen Mun, the finish line.
सजिलो छ शरीरमा तागत छ भने फास्ट गरिन्छ छैन भने बिस्तारो सोलोली गरिन्छ तर खासै रणनीति भन्ने हाम्रो केही पनि छैन त्यस्तो हुँदैन रणनीति
The Cosmo Boys were only half an hour behind the Gurkhas. Still plenty of time to catch up.
幾時開始過咗美國隊啊？
喺水浪坡同埋呢個基維爾嘅中間咯，即係馬鞍山嘅中間啊。
個天氣咧係咪你哋預期中咁樣啊？可唔可以講下？
不過中段都好熱啊，即係中段咧都好熱啊個天氣。喺而家下晝咧就比較好啲咯。
咁對於啲體能有冇影響啊？
有㗎，攰㗎，不過繼續要走咯，盡量話俾自己聽唔好停咯。
This is their home turf. They've had countless days to practice on those trails. They know every turn. They know what's coming up. They know where to push, where to hold back.
It's 6 in the evening and we're approaching checkpoint 8, the next stop after Tai Mo Shan.
Excuse me.
A few minutes before 7, the checkpoint came to life.
Thank you.
So what time they hit the checkpoint 8?
Checkpoint 8, 1859.
Half an hour later, the Cosmo Boys emerged from the dark.
3個嘅點解得？有得3個嘅？唔係啊，後邊啊，傷咗？唔係，冇受傷，但係慢咗少少啫。佢好 fit 㗎，最 fit 嗰個啊！
There are 11 kilometers more to go before the finish line. If there is an ideal window to overtake the Gurkhas, now's the time. From here on, it's flat terrain all the way across Yuen Long to Tuen Mun.
The most important thing is show everybody, particularly the local people, Hong Kong hiker can do well, even 100 km. Show everybody, and we can compete with any other team from foreign countries, although they are strong.
At the last checkpoint, loud cheers broke out as the victors made a final dash for the finish line.
हामीहरु त धेरै थाकेको छैन
Not very tired. Still they can go.
हामीहरु अझै राम्रो गर्न सक्छौं
They can go. They can do it backwards again. Bit boring. Yeah, a bit boring because there's no one to chase them.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an amazing finish! I'm afraid to tell you this, Team Security, you broke your own record again.
Half an hour later, the Cosmo boys crossed the finish line. KK delivered as promised. His team finished under 13 hours and broke Montreal's best record.
等咗9年啦，今年先等到呢另外我3個兄弟出現。
Good job, guys. They got the old inventory. I think the heat got to me more than anybody else. Was it the humidity? A little bit of heat, a little bit of humidity. I started cramping for right after 25K. I probably cramped for the next 50K. Really? And then finally the last 25K, I was feeling a little bit better.
Sometimes your best performance is not your fastest time.
Get it.